Welcome to the Justice Room. Your life, your rights, your options. Experience and learn from discussions with legal professionals and other experts about the law, its challenges, and how it could affect you. Here at the Justice Room. Welcome to the Justice Room. Welcome to the Justice Room. This is your host, Jay Jacome. Today we've brought Ms. Sharon Thomas into the show, attorney at law here in Orlando, Florida. Thanks for coming today, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you for having me.
Today we have brought Ms. Thomas on the show to talk a little bit about children in the legal system and dependency cases. This is not the same as a delinquency case. This is, I want to just be clear that we're talking about a dependency case. Tell me a little bit about what it takes for a child to be or to get involved or in a dependency case.
All right, well, first of all, the basic thing to describe what a dependency case is to just, in its simplest terms, it is a family that is dependent on the court to intervene to make the family whole again. That means that something has gone wrong in the family where someone has to intervene. Usually it starts with a person calling in an abuse report to the Department of Children and Families hotline.
Okay, now could also somebody that a spouse calls into the police department saying that her husband just committed an act of domestic violence against her and it happened in front of the children, that could create a dependency case, right? Or no?
Yes, law enforcement could literally come out to the home, take the report and say that children were involved, and as mandated reporters, a law enforcement officer could call in a DCF report.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so to start a dependency case, who's involved in the dependency case?
Well, at the beginning, a report can be called in by any of a number of mandated reporters. Once the report is called in, the hotline takes the report, tries to determine which area should respond. Once that is sent out, the case is assigned to an investigator.
An investigator from where?
From the Department of Children and Families. They're
Okay.
called protective investigators.
Okay.
Once the protective investigator gets the report, it is their duty to go out and make contact with family.
How long does this normally happen or take to happen?
Well, it depends on the severity of the case. In a case where children are left home alone, generally that will be classified as an immediate, meaning that the investigator gets the report and needs to go out right then. Sometimes reports come in for incidents that happened 2 months ago, like a domestic violence incident that no one knew about, and that might be sufficient to respond in 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times they get the immediate reports.
Okay, so most of the time you're going to have somebody out there 24 to 72 hours talking to you.
Yes, if the family can be located, the investigator will make contact with that family in that period of time.
Now, is that the point in time in where the investigator or who decides in a dependency case in an issue that involves removal? And can you explain a little bit more about what removal is?
Well, removal is where a protective investigator does, the assessments that they do regarding whether a child is at imminent risk of harm, because that's the standard, that the child cannot stay in that environment and remain safe.
Mm-hmm.
So the investigator who goes out to the home will definitely have to make contact with the parents. If there is a parent involved, they will have to see the home environment of the child, and also will try to speak with the child if the child is a verbal child.
Now, home environment, when you're referring to a home environment, we're talking about an environment where it's unsafe, broken bottles. What kind of environment are they looking for?
Well, well, let's say, for instance, there's a report about domestic violence. When there's a domestic violence report, it's not necessarily that you're going to find any hazardous conditions in the home in and of themselves, but it could be that the domestic violence is so severe that they believe that the child could not stay in the home because the person who's perpetrating the violence and the victim of the violence could not protect the children from further observation of the violence to the point that they could remain in the home. Because domestic violence doesn't necessarily mean that a child was struck, but in dependency court under Chapter 39, domestic violence that is observed by the children can place the children at imminent risk of harm as well.
Okay, but again, Chapter 39, just so that the everyday listener understands, Chapter 39 is a Florida statute and could be a different chapter in a different state or in a different location in the U.S.
Yes, in Florida it's Chapter 39.
Okay, so now if the protective investigator goes into the home and finds that the home is unsafe or the parents are not providing a safe environment for them, that would be what you're considering the home environment not being safe for the child.
Yes.
Okay. How long does it take? Can they remove your children on the spot? Or does it normally, and where do they go from there?
Yes. If a protective investigator comes to your house, they oftentimes will call law enforcement to respond with them to stand by. And if they're going to remove your child, they will speak with you. And if they're going to remove your child, they notify you that we are going to remove the child or children and that there will be a shelter hearing the following day in order for the court to determine that there was probable cause for removal of the child or children.